The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of October 28, November 1 reveal that Phyllis Summers will strengthen her mission to clear Daniel Romalotti Jr.'s name and take Sharon Newman down. Of course, that plan will come with plenty of challenges since all the evidence is pointing at Daniel right now. Plus, Sharon is listening to Cameron Kirsten and all his sinister advice, so he may make matters worse for all parties involved. Sooner or later, Cameron might push Sharon to claim another victim, namely Phyllis, since she'll be so obsessed with proving Sharon's guilty. It's easy to imagine Cameron acting like Phyllis must be eliminated, partly because she's hot on Sharon's trail, and partly because she'll always pose a threat to Sharon's happiness with Nick Newman. Cameron might pressure Sharon to get rid of Phyllis once and for all, so we'll see if Phyllis has some danger headed her way. Meanwhile, it looks like Diane Jenkins Abbott will respond to Victor Newman's pitch. Victor will put a recruitment scheme in motion and try to bring Diane over to his side, so will she get on board? Victor might think he can convince Diane to get revenge on Jack Abbott, but that plan could come with snags if her marriage failure is all a scam. What if Diane pretends to help Victor while scoring intel that can help Jabot instead? Whatever the case, Y and R spoilers say Jack and Victor's feud will heat up, but Victor may be surprised by just how sneaky his rival can be. Billy Abbott might even form an Abbott alliance with Jack at some point since they clearly have a common enemy. Over with Nate Hastings, he'll meet with Amy Lewis on October 29 and wonder what she wants to tell him. Amy will make a special trip to Genoa City so she can share some huge news with Nate in person. So what's it going to be? There's no confirmation yet on the secret Amy's been keeping, but it seems like something she's had buried for a while now. Since we know a casting call went out earlier this year for a handsome black man in his early to mid-40s, there's been speculation that a new actor might be playing Nate's half-brother. It makes sense that Amy might have secretly become pregnant with Nathan Hastings Sr.'s child, so maybe she gave birth to Nate's half-sibling and wants them to finally meet. Then again, there could be some other curveball that Amy will ultimately deliver. No matter what Amy spills, you can bet Nate will get some shocking updates soon enough. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nate's world will get turned upside down thanks to Amy's surprising revelation, so we'll bring you more predictions on what Amy will divulge. CDL's where you want to be for great Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, updates, and news, so make us your favorite way and our hotspot. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Jolie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of October 28, 2024 are here. Next week, fans can expect Nate Hastings to make a shocking discovery. Coming up on The Young and the Restless, Sharon Newman issues a threat. Meanwhile, what does the future hold for Diane Jenkins Abbott? Keep reading and let's talk about what's coming up in the CBS soap opera. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Phyllis Summers' investigation. We and our spoilers for the week of October 28 reveal that Phyllis already suspects Sharon killed Heather Stevens. Phyllis shared her suspicions with Nick Newman, who defended Sharon. Then Phyllis tried to talk to Chance Chancellor. Phyllis often goes too far for good reasons. Phyllis is trying to keep her promise to her children. However, I have a feeling that Phyllis might need to do some hacking and snooping in order to prove Sharon killed Heather, not Daniel Romalotti Jr. Perhaps Phyllis will work with Christine Blair to save Daniel. My and our spoilers, Sharon Newman's threat. If Phyllis starts confronting Sharon, it could prompt the hallucination of Cameron Kirsten to show up. Cameron's solution would be for Sharon to kill Phyllis. However, Sharon is also hallucinating about Nick, so it seems Sharon is struggling with the good hallucination versus the bad hallucination. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Diane Jenkins Abbott's future. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of October 28 reveal that Jack Abbott kicked Diane out of the house. Diane has written off Kyle Abbott. Now Diane needs to respond to Victor Newman's proposition. Even though the old Diane would take an enemy alliance, I'm not so sure this version of Diane will. Diane might be furious and vengeful, but I don't see her going that low. Lie and R spoilers. Week of October 28, 2024. Next week, Jack and Billy Abbott might join forces to battle Victor. Nate meets with Amy, who drops a bombshell. It is teased that Nate could find out he has some family members he didn't know about before. This could set up some interesting dynamics and pairings. I'm wondering if Nate's new family member could have an interest in Audra Charles. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of October 28, 2024? What are your predictions for Victor, Jack, Billy, and Kyle? What does the future hold for Diane, Nate, Audra, Phyllis, Sharon, Daniel, and the other residents of Genoa City? The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of October 28, November 1 reveal that Phyllis Summers will strengthen her mission to clear Daniel Romalotti Jr.'s name and take Sharon Newman down. Of course, that plan will come with plenty of challenges since all the evidence is pointing at Daniel right now. Plus, Sharon is listening to Cameron Kirsten and all his sinister advice, so he may make matters worse for all parties involved. Sooner or later, Cameron might push Sharon to claim another victim, namely Phyllis, since she'll be so obsessed with proving Sharon's guilty. It's easy to imagine Cameron acting like Phyllis must be eliminated, partly because she's hot on Sharon's trail, and partly because she'll always pose a threat to Sharon's happiness with Nick Newman. Cameron might pressure Sharon to get rid of Phyllis once and for all, so we'll see if Phyllis has some danger headed her way. Meanwhile, it looks like Diane Jenkins Abbott will respond to Victor Newman's pitch. Victor will put a recruitment scheme in motion and try to bring Diane over to his side. So will she get on board? Victor might think he can convince Diane to get revenge on Jack Abbott, but that plan could come with snags if her marriage failure is all a scam. What if Diane pretends to help Victor while scoring intel that can help Jabot instead? Whatever the case, Lie and R spoilers say Jack and Victor's feud will heat up, but Victor may be surprised by just how sneaky his rival can be. Billy Abbott might even form an Abbott alliance with Jack at some point since they clearly have a common enemy. Over with Nate Hastings, he'll meet with Amy Lewis on October 29 and wonder what she wants to tell him. Amy will make a special trip to Genoa City so she can share some huge news with Nate in person. So what's it going to be? There's no confirmation yet on the secret Amy's been keeping, but it seems like something she's had buried for a while now. Since we know a casting call went out earlier this year for a handsome black man in his early to mid-40s, there's been speculation that a new actor might be playing Nate's half-brother. It makes sense that Amy might have secretly become pregnant with Nathan Hastings Sr.'s child, so maybe she gave birth to Nate's half-sibling and wants them to finally meet. Then again, there could be some other curveball that Amy will ultimately deliver. No matter what Amy spills, you can bet Nate will get some shocking updates soon enough. Young and the Restless spoilers. Friday, October 25, 2024. After the tumultuous events of Devin and Abby's wedding, Genoa City was once again engulfed in a new wave of drama and heartbreak. The web of complicated relationships, secrets, and betrayals continued to tighten, threatening to unravel the fragile peace that had briefly settled over the city. Tracy's journey to reconciliation. In the midst of the chaos, Tracy Abbott found herself at a crossroads. The Abbott family, already dealing with its own crisis, was on the verge of further complications. Tracy realized that repairing her relationship with Jack Abbott was critical to keeping family harmony intact. She was determined to reconcile and began with a heartfelt conversation with Diane Jenkins, Jack's trusted assistant. Tracy approached Diane with sincerity, suggesting that they work together to support Jack and the Abbott family. Through regular meetings and discussions, Tracy gradually eased tensions within the household. Her relationship with Diane strengthened, and under Tracy's influence, Diane changed her approach, becoming more patient and empathetic in her support of Jack. Kyle's awakening. Meanwhile, Kyle Abbott, Jack's son, was going through his own journey of self-awareness. In the past, Kyle had always admired Victor Newman, but as he matured, he began to see the darker side of Victor's character. This realization led Kyle to conclude that he could no longer support Victor's ruthless ways. One evening, Kyle confronted Victor, stating that he could no longer be involved in decisions that caused harm. This marked a pivotal moment in Kyle's life as he resolved to find his own path, independent of Victor's influence. Lucy's descent into despair. Amidst all the drama, Lucy Romolotti found herself sinking into despair after learning that her father, Daniel Romolotti, was facing arrest. Lucy had always believed in her father's innocence, convinced that Daniel couldn't have killed Heather. But as evidence mounted against Daniel, Lucy became overwhelmed with grief and confusion, struggling to cope with the possibility that her world was falling apart. Daniel's struggle for redemption. Daniel Romolotti was desperately fighting to clear his name, but the odds were stacked against him. Investigator Chance Chancellor had uncovered damning evidence linking Daniel to a confrontation with Heather. Despite Daniel's efforts to defend himself, the new evidence only made things worse. In desperation, Daniel turned to Chance for help, hoping for a breakthrough. However, Chance made it clear that the case against Daniel was strong, and he needed to brace himself for the consequences. Open-ended conclusion. Tracy and Diane continued to support the Abbott family while also working to help Daniel fight for justice. However, the challenges Daniel faced not only threatened his future, but also the stability of those connected to him. Will they be able to uncover the truth and save Daniel before it's too late? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, October 24, point to Daniel's inability to stand it anymore. He needs to prove who killed Heather, and that it wasn't him. But just like it's darkest before dawn and Daniel's lowest point, it's a cricket to the rescue. A woman's work is never done. Danny is very, very worried about his son, but his music isn't going to tour itself, is it? Sure, the boy he dedicated his life to raising, even when he knew Daniel wasn't biologically his, has just lost his life partner, and Danny's granddaughter, Lucy, has lost her mom, but singing. Europe, money, the show must go on, and all that. But Danny isn't completely ignoring Daniel. He video called him. Then he sent Christine to him. Not only is she Daniel's former stepmom, but she is also a lawyer. She can do Daniel a lot more good than Danny could. To tell the truth, but Daniel can't wait for the slow gears of the Genoa City legal system to grind into place. They're what are grinding him down in the first place. Daniel needs answers, and he needs them now. Daniel confronts Sharon with question after question. Will she cave? Will she crack? Will she cower? Will she contradict? Or will Ghost Cameron convince Sharon to take even more desperate measures? Villain vacancy. Tracy just moved Alan into the Abbott mansion, in time to find out from Jack that he's asked Diane to move out. Jack can't live under the same roof as a woman who wants to hold their son responsible for the crimes he committed. Why doesn't Diane realize that Jack indulging Kyle, forgiving Kyle, and letting Kyle get away with crimes is what turned Kyle into the man he is today? Is Diane suggesting Jack may have made an error in his parenting? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, October 24, reveal that Christine Blair will rush back to Genoa City on a mission to defend Daniel Romolotti Jr. Christine knows Daniel adored Heather Stevens and would never wipe her off the map like this. That's why Christine will assure Daniel that she believes him and will vow to do everything she can to prove his innocence. Of course, it'll be interesting to hear Christine's reaction to Phyllis Summers' theory about Sharon Newman being to blame. Will Christine think that's a stretch or side with her rival for once? Either way, Christine will get updates on the evidence against Daniel and do her best to create a solid defense. Daniel may not know what to believe anymore after grilling Sharon at the cottage and getting nothing but denials. Part of Daniel may wonder if there's some other possible culprit as questions keep swirling in his head. Since Daniel made a prediction about the police showing up at his door soon, there's a good chance he'll be right about that. Based on the new evidence of blood at the apartment and the murder weapon discovery, Daniel could find himself in handcuffs in the very near future. At Sharon's house, Newman will push her to open up to him. Sharon will remain an emotional wreck, so Nick will comfort her and insist it's okay to share what's going on. That'll put Sharon in a tight spot of her own making. After crying to Nick and telling him that she can't take it anymore, Sharon will likely come up with some excuse for her outburst. Instead of confessing to causing Heather's grim fate and Daniel's frame-up, Sharon may act like Daniel's been there harassing her with false accusations. This could rile Nick up and make him even more protective of Sharon. Other Y and R spoilers say Diane Jenkins Abbott will catch Tracy Abbott off guard. After Diane admits Jack Abbott asked her to move out, Tracy will be confused over how quickly their marriage has collapsed. However, Jack will give Tracy some unsettling news on Thursday's episode, so that could involve a hidden truth. Perhaps Jack will decide he can't lie to Tracy and come clean about a fake divorce trick that's being pulled on Victor Newman and Kyle Abbott. It's possible Jack and Diane's relationship is really crumbling instead, but it seems more like a takedown plot's in motion if you ask us. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Kyle and Victor could be getting conned, so stay tuned for the fallout. CBS The Young and the Restless full episode Thursday, October 24 I and R Thursday 10 to 24 2024. In today's thrilling episode of The Young and the Restless, tensions rise in Genoa City as secrets unravel and alliances shift. The aftermath of recent events leaves the characters reeling, and the stakes have never been higher. Key highlights: Lily faces the consequences. Lily finds herself in a precarious situation as the police take action. The implications of her recent decisions weigh heavily on her, leaving her to confront the potential fallout. As Chance offers comfort to Daniel, will Lily's predicament bring them closer or push them further apart? Phyllis's dilemma. Phyllis grapples with her past choices as she seeks a way to protect her family. Her fierce determination leads her to confront Daisy, but will her attempts to keep Lucy's true parentage under wraps succeed? Victor's master plan. Victor Newman is up to his usual tricks, orchestrating a plan that could turn the tide in his favor. With Jack and Kyle in the crosshairs, the battle for control of Jibot heats up. Will Victor's cunning strategy pay off, or will it backfire spectacularly? Romantic tensions. Amidst the chaos, romantic entanglements deepen as old flames reignite. Who will find love, and who will face heartbreak in the process? Stay tuned as the drama unfolds in today's episode of The Young and the Restless. The twists and turns will leave you on the edge of your seat. I and R spoilers Thursday, October 24. Backed into a corner, major return, disturbing news. Y and R spoilers Thursday, October 24. Backed into a corner, major return, disturbing news. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, October 24, indicate some massive plot twists on the horizon. Next on Young and the Restless, someone is backed into a corner, while a major character returns, and a little sister gets some disturbing news from her brother. What kind of drama is set to unravel on Thursday? Time to dive right in. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Sharon Newman is pushed to her limits. My and R spoilers for Thursday, October 24, reveal that off the cusp of her confrontation with Daniel Romalotti on Wednesday's show, Sharon Newman will feel as if she's been backed into a corner. Nick Newman arrived at the cottage at the end of Wednesday's show, and Sharon was in tears. Will she tell him the truth about Heather Stevens' death? What will Nick do when he finds out? Y&R spoilers. The bug returns. Speaking of Daniel, Y&R spoilers for Thursday, October 24 hint that Christine Blair will return to the canvas. During Wednesday's show, Daniel asked his dad Danny Romalotti to send Cricket home during a video conference call. As fans know, the Bug and Danny are out traveling the globe for his world tour. Still, Daniel needs Christine's help with some pending legal issues as the GCP seems to think he's behind Heather's demise. The seasoned lawyer will waste no time in coming home and be a part of Thursday's show, but how will Phyllis Summers feel when she finds out Christine has arrived to save the day for her son? The Young and the Restless spoilers. Tracy Abbott gets disturbing news. Over with the Abbotts, Y&R spoilers for Thursday reveal that Tracy Abbott will get some terrible news from Jack Abbott. It looks like Jack is about to boot his wife, Diane Abbott, out of the mansion, and Tracy will bear witness to this all. How will Tracy react when she finds out her brother's marriage is falling apart? What storyline are you most looking forward to on Thursday? Share your thoughts below. Watch the CBS Soap Daily so you don't miss a moment of the drama, and visit SOS for the most up-to-date Young and the Restless spoilers and news. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, October 24, 2024, are here. In tomorrow's episode, fans can expect Sharon Newman to be backed into a corner. Coming up on The Young and the Restless, Christine Blair returns to help Daniel Romalotti Jr. with his criminal justice problem. Plus, Tracy Abbott learns disturbing information. Keep reading to find out what is coming up in the next episode of the CBS soap opera. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Sharon Newman's hallucinations. Y&R spoilers for Thursday, October 24 reveal that Sharon will be cornered. Fans recall that in Wednesday's episode, Phyllis Summers pleaded with Chance Chancellor. Chance also found evidence that Heather was murdered in the penthouse. Sharon also seemed divided between hallucinations of both Cameron Kirsten and Nick Newman. Y&R spoilers, close to confessing. Then, the real Nick showed up at Sharon's door. Sharon was in tears and said she can't do this anymore. It seems Sharon is getting close to making a full confession, unless Cameron pops up and stops her. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Christine Blair returns. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, October 24 reveal that Christine will come back to Genoa City. Christine will be back to help Danny Romalotti's son. Will Christine be able to prove that Daniel is innocent? In order to do that, Christine will likely need to prove that Sharon is guilty. Of course, unless Sharon confesses and stops this madness. Y&R spoilers. Thursday, October 24, 2024. On Thursday, October 24, fans will also see Jack Abbott share some disturbing news with Tracy. Now, Tracy is the one that keeps the family together. So, will Tracy be able to fix this big Abbott family mess? The big mess with Kyle Abbott might be too complicated for even Tracy to handle. Fans might also see what happens once Amy Lewis meets with Nate Hastings. Plus, what does the future hold for Audra Charles and Lily Winters now? It seems Audra was looking for an ally, but Lily isn't interested. Audra is determined to get back what she lost, though. If she can't back Lisade, Audra might target both the Newman and Abbott families. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most on Thursday, October 24, 2024? What are your predictions of Jack, Tracy, Audra, Nate, and Amy? What does the future hold for Christine, Danny, Daniel, Sharon, and the rest of the Genoa City residents? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount+ Plus, to find out what happens next, young and restless Victor is planning a big surprise for Abby and Devon's wedding after taking matters into his own hands when their venue canceled at the last minute. But it was the mustached portrayer Eric Braden who ended up reeling from the unexpected recently, when a huge reveal ahead of the soap's 13,000th episode threw him for a loop, and he wasn't the only one. As viewers will soon see, Victor has had the old ranch rebuilt as a surprise for Nikki, and intends it to be the location at which Abby and Devon's wedding will take place. All this, of course, is a secret, including to Dabby and their guests, who have yet to be told where to go to attend the November nuptials. Soaps readers caught a glimpse of the new/old ranch set when Braden shared photos on Twitter/X of him and his co-workers in fancy dress. But at that point, nothing was officially confirmed. Now, Deadline has shared the first look at the new ranch in a clip that takes young and restless fans behind the scenes to witness Braden and Melody Thomas Scott getting their first glimpse of their characters' restored former home. Although they knew a new set was in the cards, they were stunned to see the old ranch set refurbished. As Braden explains in the video, he was moved to tears, as was Thomas Scott, who can be seen in the video exclaiming over the staircase in my house, before sharing an emotional embrace with her on-screen husband. Executive producer and head writer Josh Griffith remarked, "The Newman Ranch burning down was an emotional story for the Newmans, but it was not lost on us that the Newman family and Genoa City just weren't the same without Victor and Nikki's original home." He added that they decided that its return around Oi and R's 13,000th episode would be perfect timing to help celebrate this incredible milestone, as well as the legacy of Victor and Nikki. We couldn't agree with this line of thinking more. The surprise reveal of the new/old ranch is set to air on Friday, November 8, with the 13,000th episode airing on Wednesday, November 13. You can watch Braden and Thomas Scott's video here. Sharon Newman sat in her living room, her mind racing with fury and paranoia. For weeks, she had been under the relentless scrutiny of Phyllis Summers and her granddaughter, Lucy. They followed her everywhere, watching, waiting for her to slip up. Phyllis knew too much. Despite Sharon's efforts to stay calm, the constant surveillance was wearing her down. Every time she saw them, her pulse quickened with a mix of anger and fear. They had to be stopped. Sharon's frustration grew darker, more dangerous. Phyllis should have known better than to cross her. After all, Sharon had already framed Daniel Romalotti for the murder of his estranged wife, Heather. She had planted evidence to ensure his downfall, and now the police were closing in. Sharon had done it all to protect herself and cover up her role in Heather's death. But Phyllis, always the detective, was getting too close to the truth. There was only one option left. Sharon had to silence Phyllis, and if that meant doing something drastic, so be it. In a moment of chilling clarity, Sharon realized Phyllis's weakness, Lucy. Phyllis would do anything to protect her granddaughter, making Lucy the perfect leverage. If Phyllis didn't stop investigating, Sharon would force her hand. Lucy would become the pawn in Sharon's deadly game. Sharon's plan began to take shape. She would kidnap Lucy and hide her somewhere remote. Once she had Lucy, she'd send Phyllis an ultimatum: stop the investigation or Lucy dies. Brutal, but it was the only way to ensure Phyllis wouldn't dig any deeper into Heather's murder. A few days later, Sharon executed her plan. She found Lucy alone in the park after school. It was almost too easy. Sharon pulled up in her car, offering a friendly smile and a quick chat. Lucy hesitated but eventually got into the car, unaware of the danger. Sharon's demeanor soon shifted. Her voice grew cold, her smile vanished, and Lucy realized too late that something was terribly wrong. Sharon drove to an isolated cabin on the outskirts of town, locking Lucy inside with no way to escape or call for help. Then Sharon sent the message to Phyllis: if you want to see Lucy alive, stop your investigation. If you don't, Lucy will die. Phyllis received the message at home, her world crumbling as she read the chilling words. Panic surged through her. Sharon had already killed Heather, and now she was threatening Lucy's life. Phyllis was torn. Stop the investigation and save Lucy, or continue and risk her granddaughter's life. Tears filled her eyes as she faced an impossible decision: Daniel's freedom or Lucy's safety. In an unexpected twist, Amanda Sinclair is back in Genoa City, and her return is sending shockwaves through the community. As she takes on the role of Daniel's lawyer, tensions are set to rise, especially for Sharon Collins, who can't help but worry about the implications of Amanda's arrival. A familiar face, Amanda's return brings with it a mix of emotions for the residents of Genoa City. Known for her sharp legal mind and fierce dedication, she is determined to ensure that Daniel gets the representation he deserves. However, her presence raises questions about her motives and the impact it may have on those around her. Sharon's concerns. For Sharon, Amanda's return is more than just a professional development, it's a personal one. Given the history between Amanda and Daniel, Sharon worries about the potential for old flames to reignite. As she tries to navigate her own feelings, will she be able to keep her composure, or will her insecurities about Amanda's influence take over? Rising tensions. As Amanda dives into the case, expect tensions to flare not only between her and Sharon, but also with other key players in the storyline. Daniel's legal troubles will bring up old rivalries and new alliances, making for a gripping narrative that keeps fans on the edge of their seats. The stakes are high. With Amanda representing Daniel, the stakes have never been higher. Can she navigate the complex dynamics of Genoa City while staying focused on the case at hand? Or will personal entanglements get in the way of her professional responsibilities? As Amanda reestablishes herself in Genoa City, the young and the restless promises a whirlwind of drama, intrigue, and emotional confrontations. Stay tuned to see how Sharon copes with Amanda's return and what it means for Daniel's future. In The Young and the Restless, Genoa City is about to face a legal storm as Daniel Romalotti finds himself in dire need of a lawyer. With Christine and Danny still unavailable, Daniel's legal troubles have intensified, leaving him searching for a sharp, unrelenting attorney to navigate the web of accusations surrounding him. The stakes are higher than ever, and it seems only one person can fill this critical role: Amanda Sinclair. Amanda, a once formidable presence in Genoa City, had left town, but her return would send shockwaves through the city. Known for her legal prowess and deep understanding of the intricate relationships in Genoa City, Amanda is the ideal candidate to take on Daniel's case. She has a sharp mind, a relentless drive for justice, and a personal history with many key figures in town, making her an asset in the courtroom. However, Amanda has no intention of returning to Genoa City unless there's a strong purpose, something significant enough to pull her back into the city's drama. That purpose arrives in the form of Devin and Abby's wedding. Amanda's return wouldn't just be about the legal case, it would also reignite her unfinished business with Devin, stirring up old emotions and unresolved conflicts. Her re-entry into the city is bound to be dramatic, not just for the wedding attendees, but for nearly everyone in town. Amanda's presence will shake things up in more ways than one, and her return couldn't have come at a more volatile time. As Amanda steps back into the spotlight, her relationship with Sharon and Nick is sure to reignite old tensions. Amanda and Sharon have never been friends, far from it. They were rivals, and Amanda always saw Sharon as someone who couldn't be trusted. On the flip side, Sharon viewed Amanda as a threat, especially given her close connections to people Sharon holds dear. The history between them is complicated and filled with animosity, making Amanda's potential involvement in Daniel's case even more intense. Sharon and Nick will be on edge, worried not only about Amanda's skills as a lawyer, but also about the personal history she shares with them. The idea of Amanda digging into Daniel's case and possibly unearthing old grievances will make them uneasy. Sharon might even try to use her influence to sway Amanda away from taking the case. But Amanda isn't one to be easily manipulated. If anything, her past issues with Sharon might fuel her determination to push the case forward, knowing how much it would unsettle her rival. But Amanda's motivations for returning to Genoa City go beyond the courtroom. She has personal scores to settle. Her time away hasn't diminished the feelings of betrayal she harbors towards several key figures in the city. For Amanda, this case will be about more than defending Daniel. It will be an opportunity to confront the people who wronged her and reassert her presence in Genoa City. Meanwhile, Amanda's return will stir up memories of her late twin sister, Hillary Curtis, whose legacy still looms large in the city. Hillary was a brilliant lawyer, known for manipulating the complex dynamics of Genoa City to her advantage. Although Hillary is gone, Amanda's return will bring her memory back to the forefront, reminding everyone of the sharp insight and strategy both sisters shared. For Daniel, having Amanda on his side could mean the difference between freedom and prison. Amanda knows the people involved in his case, and she's unafraid to go head-to-head with Sharon, Nick, or anyone else who might stand in her way. Daniel needs someone ruthless, someone who can look past petty rivalries and personal ties, and Amanda is that person. Phyllis, Daniel's fiercely protective mother, will likely welcome Amanda's return. Phyllis knows that Amanda has the potential to not only help Daniel, but also shake things up in ways Phyllis herself can't. Amanda's ability to take on Sharon and Nick in a legal battle will surely ignite the drama Phyllis thrives on. Ultimately, Amanda's return isn't just about legal battles. It's about reclaiming her place in Genoa City and confronting the ghosts of her past. Her presence will serve as a reminder that the past never truly stays buried, and her mission extends beyond freeing Daniel. It's about making her mark on the city once again. Hello everyone! Welcome to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Before we dive into today's exciting spoiler, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Romalotti family is facing one of their darkest hours with the recent tragedy surrounding Heather's unexpected death. Unfortunately, the situation is about to take an even darker turn, leading Phyllis to a breaking point. In the world of Asterisk, the young and the restless Asterisk, one lesson is clear: if you tangle with Daniel, you're going to have to deal with his fierce mother, Phyllis. This can only spell disaster, especially for Sharon, who is about to realize just how deep the trouble goes. After the shocking events, Sharon finds herself grappling with the weight of her choices. In a frantic attempt to navigate the fallout from Heather's death, she's haunted by the ghost of Cameron Kirsten, a sinister presence that has been lurking in her subconscious. This inner turmoil drives her to a desperate decision. She plans to frame Daniel for Heather's murder. Sharon's twisted reasoning is that Daniel must pay for the death of her daughter, Cassie, and this misguided revenge scheme is about to spiral out of control. In her panic, Sharon cleverly plants evidence implicating Daniel in Heather's murder, including bloody towels and Heather's cell phone, evidence she stashes in Daniel's liquor cabinet. One might think that such drastic actions would be enough to quench her thirst for revenge, but it seems the situation is only getting started. The ramifications of her actions are sure to cause chaos, especially for Chance, who will be faced with the gut-wrenching task of arresting Daniel, his girlfriend's brother. This confrontation is bound to create a rift in Chance's personal life, pushing him to the brink. As if that weren't enough, Phyllis is poised to unleash her fury upon learning that her son is being accused of killing the woman he loved. Her fierce maternal instincts will come into play, and she won't take the news lightly. It's clear that Phyllis is not one to back down when her family is threatened, and her wrath could lead to explosive confrontations. The simmering tension between her and Sharon will likely reach a boiling point, making for some intense drama. In an exclusive insight from Michelle Stafford, she reveals just how far Phyllis is willing to go to protect her children. "Oh, all the way," she says. Phyllis is prepared to walk through fire for either of her kids. This fierce determination stems from her own brokenness and the struggles she faced in her past, shaping her into the fierce protector she is today. She'll stop at nothing to ensure Daniel fights back against these false allegations, even if her methods are questionable. Stafford notes that while Phyllis's actions may sometimes be extreme, they are fueled by a deep-seated need to defend her family. Nobody went all the way for her, she explains, adding a layer of complexity to Phyllis's character. This backstory not only adds depth to her motivations, but also hints at the tumultuous path ahead for both Phyllis and Daniel. As the fallout continues to unfold, fans are left wondering just how far Phyllis will go to save her son. Will her actions lead to more chaos in Genoa City? With the stakes higher than ever, viewers should brace themselves for an emotional roller coaster as the battle for justice takes center stage. One thing is certain, things are going to get ugly, and the consequences of these decisions will reverberate throughout the lives of everyone involved. Stay tuned as the drama intensifies and Phyllis fights to clear her son's name, proving once again that family comes first, no matter the cost. In the dramatic twists of The Young and the Restless, Nick Newman finds himself navigating the treacherous waters of love, loyalty, and morality. A man who has always valued family above all else, Nick now faces a critical crossroads. His unwavering devotion to Sharon, a woman who has been a constant presence in his life for years, blinds him to the dark truths slowly unraveling around them. Heather's murder is the crux of this turmoil, and although Nick has long suspected Sharon's involvement, his loyalty to her has led him down a dangerous path of denial. Nick's loyalty isn't just about love. It has morphed into something far more perilous: blind protection. Despite the growing pile of evidence linking Sharon to Heather's death, Nick has chosen to bury his suspicions deep, convincing himself that his role is to protect Sharon, not to seek justice. This decision is not without consequence, and his former lover, Phyllis Summers, has had enough. Watching Nick place Sharon above their relationship and even the moral line, Phyllis is convinced that Nick is making a grave mistake, one that may come back to haunt him in ways he cannot yet fathom. Phyllis has seen the changes in Nick, and she is furious. To her, Nick has thrown away their love, their bond, and his integrity to shield a woman she believes is a murderer. But it goes deeper than that. Phyllis can't shake the nagging feeling that Nick may be more involved than he lets on. She starts to question his actions and suspects, that Nick isn't just a man caught in Sharon's web, but that he may have crossed the line from protector to accomplice. The situation grows even more complicated as Nick struggles with his divided loyalties. On one side, there is Phyllis, a woman he once loved, whose patience has run out. On the other, there is Sharon, the mother of his children. Maria and Faith are also swept up in this moral conundrum. In the heat of the moment, they made an unspoken pact to protect Sharon, believing that even if she was involved in Heather's death, it was an accident, a momentary lapse that didn't deserve punishment. Their emotional ties to Sharon have made them complicit in her actions, adding layers of deception that bind them all to a dangerous lie. Maria, ever protective of her mother, leads the charge in shielding Sharon, while Faith, torn between her moral compass and her love for Sharon, reluctantly falls in line. Nick, trapped in the middle, knows deep down that they are spiraling into a dark abyss, but his love for Sharon keeps him from taking action. He tells himself that he is protecting her for the sake of their children, but Phyllis sees through this facade. To her, Nick's actions stem not just from love, but from guilt over what he knows, what he has done, and what he is continuing to do to cover up Sharon's crime. As the investigation into Heather's murder intensifies, Phyllis becomes even more determined to expose the truth. The loss of her relationship with Nick is painful, but her priority shifts to saving her son, Daniel, and her granddaughter, Lucy, from the chaos that is about to explode. She cannot sit back and watch Sharon and potentially Nick get away with murder. Phyllis has fought too hard to lose everything now, and she is resolute in her mission to bring Sharon, and perhaps Nick, down. Nick, however, remains blinded by his loyalty to Sharon. Every lie, every half-truth he tells to protect her only entangles him further in a web of deceit. He knows that if the truth comes out, his life will be shattered. But Phyllis believes that justice is inevitable. She watches as the walls closen around Nick and Sharon, and she is certain that the evidence will eventually point not just to Sharon, but to Nick as well. In Phyllis's mind, when Sharon falls, Nick will fall with her. Phyllis is prepared to go to any lengths to see that justice is served. To her, it's not just about revenge or the betrayal she feels from Nick. It's about righting the wrongs that have been committed. If Sharon goes down, Phyllis will make sure Nick does too, and in the end, she believes that this is exactly what Nick deserves for betraying her and siding with Sharon. My and R/Courtney Hope reveals on Sally Spectra's storyline with Billy Abbott. The young and the restless characters Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott are growing closer, hinting to a new pairing in the town. They have taken the tough route of finding comfort in each other as they deal with hard feelings. But will it eventually lead to something more? Actress Courtney Hope, who portrays Sally, has revealed what she thinks is going to happen. Read more to know. Courtney's remark on Sally's disastrous love life. It looks like Billy Abbott could be the new love interest for Sally Spectra after the huge shake-off in their relationships with Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman. Sally's portrayer, Courtney Hope, has spilled the beans on her upcoming storyline's twist around Billy Abbott. In a chat with Soaps in Depth, she confessed that Sally knows how to pick men. By that, she actually teased Sally's taste in men with red flags. The actress confirms that Sally indeed has a disastrous love life, which has a lot to do with her past hardships and childhood traumas. The actress added that Sally has a soft spot for bad men, which could be the reason why she gets tangled around such men. Looking at Sally's dating history, fans would know that she has suffered major heartbreaks from men like Nick Newman and Adam Newman. Adam has left Sally heartbroken twice, and now she is getting involved with Billy Abbott. Sally and Billy's bond. Courtney Hope reveals they've definitely been growing closer and have found a common ground. But this intimacy has more to do with the feeling of betrayal from their partners, the actress explained. She further added, they're navigating this likely because it allows them to find comfort in one another after facing disappointment from Chelsea and Adam's lies and deceit. Courtney mentions that Sally sometimes attracts people with a deep passion for life, but they could also come with some baggage and trauma. Sally still picks such men because of her past experiences, which lead her to find solace in the chaos around these people. Speaking of their blooming romance between Billy and Sally, Courtney claimed that it will certainly bring plenty of drama. She even expressed excitement over the possibility of their pairing. She mentioned, Sally has never had an easy path. Rather, she lives a roller coaster life with several ups and downs. For a moment, you can find her happy, and by the next, you could find her messed up. Maybe it's just by her choices in men in general, says Courtney. But it would be an interesting pairing for sure, shares the actress on Billy and Sally's possible pairing. Courtney also teases that Billy is like Adam, but it would be interesting to explore more on that. The young and the restless star Courtney Hope seems like enjoying the storylines for her character. But are you also excited for Billy and Sally's pairing on the soap? Do mention it in the comments. For more such updates on your favorite celebs and shows, keep reading Soap Opera. On The Young and the Restless, Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins were having some public arguments, and they shocked everyone in Genoa City, and it just might be more than just their marriage breaking up. It could be a curated experience. Are Jack and Diane really splitting up, or are the two rocking a revenge plan? Also, on The Young and the Restless, Victor Newman's master plan is to destroy Jibot, and also to dismantle Jack's personal life. Victor wants to ruin Jack's marriage and family. Victor lured Kyle Abbott over to Glissade, and has taken every chance to widen the gap between Kyle and his parents, which is working like a charm. Jack and Diane have been bickering in private about Kyle, but never as nasty as it has gotten in public. And Diane has no doubt that Kyle stole that product from Jebot, but they just don't have a way to prove it. Meanwhile, Jack and Diane have been having lots of arguments in public, and it's always with witnesses. Sometimes it's Victor watching and laughing. Sometimes it's Nikki Michael Baldwin, Kyle, or Claire Newman. Jack has even fought with Diane in front of Tracy Abbott, Beth Maitland, and her boyfriend Alan Laurent. But we haven't seen too much of Diane alone with Jack lately, where it's just the two of them. So we don't know what's really going behind their closed doors. The Young and the Restless, Jack and Diane's shocking public arguments. Later this week, Diane comes home upset and tells Tracy that Jack told her to move out of the mansion. Could these arguments be real, or is it all a big setup? A public theater to convince Victor that his plan is working perfectly? Granted, Kyle did steal a product from Jebot, but is that enough to break the bond that Jack and Diane have? If Jack and Diane are running a scheme, they would have to keep it up at home to make sure Kyle believes it. The only time they could relax is behind closed doors at the office or in their bedroom at the mansion. This week, Kyle tells Claire how heartbroken he is over his parents' marriage falling apart and all these awful public arguments. And he seems legitimately upset, even though he knows he's part of ripping them apart. By Friday, Victor is thoroughly convinced that Diane's public arguments that shocked everyone and Jack's marriage is in shambles, and he approaches Diane, wanting to recruit her to come over to the dark side with him. He may tempt her to work with him, even offer to help reconcile her with Kyle. And this might be exactly what Jack and Diane were hoping he would do. Y and R. Victor's trap for Diane Jenkins and Kyle Abbott's betrayal. Diane may be a Trojan horse, and Victor is inviting her into his inner sanctum. Is it a trap? If Victor lets her in because he thinks she is split from Jack, then Diane can get information that will help Jack, Billy, Lily, Audra, and others get revenge on Victor Newman. Even Jill is coming back, and she's going to want some revenge too. It remains to be seen if Jack and Diane are really on the verge of divorce, or are the two as solid as ever and are united in a plan to teach Kyle a lesson and take Victor down a notch or 2 or 10. Kyle is coming off as an entitled brat who should appreciate the opportunities he's had at Jebot, and there were better ways for him to deal with his dissatisfaction than to betray the family business by going to a competitor and stealing from Jebot. As for Victor, he may need a brutal takedown at this point, given how many people he's done dirty in the past. Right now, he's targeting Chancellor's company, Jill Abbott, and his friend Neil's daughter, Lily. So many people are in harm's way. Being a misunderstood character is perhaps soap 101. Yet there are some who bear the brunt of it more than others. The Young and the Restless star Mark Grossman feels that's exactly true for his character Adam Newman. He has been a deeply misunderstood man all his life, even by those closest to him. Hence, it is no surprise that he is always at loggerheads with his family, especially with his father, Victor Newman. Yet, there is nothing more he'd like than to live up to the Victor Newman Jr. name his portrayer Mark Grossman believes. But that's not all he wants for his character. I would love to do a storyline where Adam started his own business and was doing his own thing, and it was a big kind of middle finger to the family, Mark told Soaps.com. Furthermore, the popular soap star added that he loves it when Adam works with Jack Abbott on The Young and the Restless. Moreover, he enjoys that the said collaboration sort of triggers Victor Newman. Well, of course, Jack is his biggest nemesis, so it makes sense. I guess what I'm saying is I enjoy any time Adam can stick it to Victor, he jokes. Mark even adds that he actually loves working with Peter Bergman, as he brings out the best in everyone he works with. Well, if that's what Adam wants, we think he really should join forces with Jack. In fact, it would serve a twofold purpose. Adam would get what he wants. Meanwhile, Jack gets to stick it to Victor for stealing Kyle away from him. Wouldn't it be sweet, sweet revenge? We don't get to see Victor Newman squirming too often, so if we get the chance, we'd take it. Jill Abbott had always been a force to be reckoned with, a matriarch who fiercely protected her family and business. But lately, she had grown increasingly wary of Lily Winters, a woman she had once trusted but now saw as a threat. Jill valued loyalty above all else, and Lily's recent actions had shattered that trust. After countless warnings from her son, Billy, Jill finally saw Lily for who she truly was, a manipulative, disloyal woman who betrayed those closest to her. Billy had voiced his concerns about Lily's behavior many times, but Jill had been reluctant to listen. She had wanted to believe in Lily, hoping the partnership they had built could withstand the challenges. But the glaring truth became impossible to ignore. Lily had revealed her true colors, and Jill could no longer turn a blind eye. The once respected CEO of Chancellor Winters had become nothing more than a power-hungry opportunist driven by selfish ambition. It wasn't just Billy who had raised concerns. Jill had observed Lily systematically alienating those around her, betraying confidences, and manipulating situations to her advantage. Now, with every mask removed, Lily's true nature was on full display. Jill's disappointment quickly morphed into anger, and she made a decision that would forever change Lily's future. Lily would be removed not only from the family business, but also from the Abbott family itself. The confrontation between Jill and Lily was inevitable. When Jill finally confronted her, the tension between them exploded into a heated argument. Lily, defiant and unapologetic, tried to justify her actions, but Jill was having none of it. Her patience had run out, and she had no intention of letting Lily slither her way out of accountability. For Jill, this was personal. Lily had betrayed her family, and she would pay for it. "You're done, Lily," Jill declared, her voice cold and resolute. "I don't want to see you near my family or my business ever again. You've crossed too many lines." As expected, Lily fought back, arguing that Jill was making a mistake by siding with Billy. But Jill was unwavering. No amount of persuasion or manipulation could change her mind. Jill had seen enough of Lily's betrayal to know she could no longer be trusted. For all her cunning and ambition, Lily had finally reached the end of the line. In the aftermath of their clash, Lily found herself utterly alone. The walls she had built around herself, fortified by deceit and self-interest, came crashing down. Once a respected leader in the business world, her reputation was now in tatters. No one trusted her, no one wanted to associate with her, and the alliances she had carefully crafted over the years had evaporated. It was a steep fall from grace, leaving Lily with the bitter realization that her own actions had led to her downfall. Jill, on the other hand, had no regrets about her decision. She had always been able to see through people's facades, and now fully understood the value of her son Billy. He had warned her about Lily from the beginning, and Jill realized she should have trusted his instincts sooner. Despite his troubled past, Billy had proven loyal to both the family and Chancellor Winters, while Lily had only looked out for herself. Jill was determined not to let someone like Lily remain in their circle any longer. However, the battle between Jill and Lily was far from over. Jill wasn't content with just kicking Lily out of the family and business. She wanted to teach her a lesson. Jill's wrath was not something anyone wanted to face, and Lily had made the fatal mistake of underestimating her resolve. Jill knew how to play the long game and had every intention of making sure Lily paid for what she had done. But how would this war unfold? Would Lily fight back, or would she finally accept the consequences of her actions? Genoa City was already buzzing with whispers about the drama, and everyone knew that when Jill Abbott set her mind to something, she wouldn't stop until she got what she wanted. For those who had watched Lily's rise with admiration, her sudden fall was a cautionary tale. Her ambition had driven her to betray the very people who had supported her, and now she was reaping what she had sown. Jill's decision to stand by Billy and cut ties with Lily sent a clear message. Loyalty mattered, and betrayal would not be tolerated. Together, Jill and Billy would rebuild what Lily had tried to tear apart. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. Over the years, there have been many actors who have played the role of Adam on The Young and the Restless. Therefore, each and every one of them has crossed paths with Eric Braden since he happens to play the character's on-screen father, Victor. There were 6 youngsters who appeared in the role in the early years, followed by Chris Egan, Michael Money, Justin Hartley, and presently Mark Grossman. Why are we rehashing this? Well, Braden recently had something to say about one of those actors. If you're a fan of Hartley, then you've most likely been following his hit CBS series Tracker, which is currently in its 2nd season and airs on Sunday nights. Last week's episode, titled Ontological Shock, caught the eye of Braden, who happened to be watching as Hartley's Coulter suddenly disappeared during his search for a missing father, as Renee recruited his brother, Russell, for help. Watched Justin Hartley on Tracker tonight. Braden stated, "Loved the show." He went on to express, "No wonder the show is so damn successful. I couldn't stop watching." Then gave Hartley a huge shout out. "Justin is a very good actor, very convincing, very strong. He has what all American stars from Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne, James Arness, etc. had, namely, a basic decency and integrity and strength. He simply is believable." We have to agree with Braden. There's a reason why Tracker clocked in 8.3 million viewers during its Season 2 premiere, and a large part of that is due to Hartley's ability to take the audience along for a thrilling ride as Coulter risks his life to save those who have gone missing. In today's episode of The Young and the Restless, Christine Williams makes a determined return to Genoa City, driven by her unwavering mission to defend Daniel Rumalotti. With a long-standing legal career and deep connections within the city, Christine understands that Daniel's situation is dire. He is more than just a client. He embodies loyalty and love, particularly in his bond with Heather Stevens. Christine knows that Daniel will always hold Heather in his heart, and this steadfast connection fuels her resolve to defend him fiercely, regardless of how desperate circumstances may become. As whispers of Heather's tragic death echo around town, Christine is acutely aware of the evidence mounting against Daniel, an innocent man grappling with false accusations. When she arrives in town, she immediately seeks out Daniel, assuring him of her belief in his innocence. To Christine, Daniel represents more than a professional obligation. He is a friend deserving of unwavering support during this tumultuous time. Her faith serves as Daniel's only glimmer of hope amidst the turmoil. However, the situation becomes increasingly complex due to Daniel's mother, Phyllis Summers. Phyllis suspects that Sharon Newman may be involved in Heather's death and has embarked on her own investigation. Known for her impulsive behavior, Phyllis's theories are both shocking and pivotal, adding another layer of intrigue to the storyline. Christine faces a dilemma. Will she heed Phyllis's claims, or will she dismiss them as yet another of Phyllis's far-fetched schemes? As someone grounded in caution and law, Christine knows she must scrutinize all angles before forming her conclusions, understanding that overlooking even one detail could unravel their efforts to exonerate Daniel. With time slipping away, Christine intends to meet Phyllis to discuss her findings about Heather's death. As the legal battle intensifies, Christine's reaction to Phyllis's theory will be a focal point for viewers, showcasing her methodical nature as she weighs the potential truth against Phyllis's emotional outbursts. If Christine detects any legitimacy in Phyllis's claims, she may find herself aligning with her adversary for the greater good of revealing the truth and restoring Daniel's name. The stakes escalate when blood is discovered in Heather's apartment alongside the murder weapon, putting Daniel in a precarious position. The pressure is mounting for him, as doubts about Sharon's role surface, exacerbating his confusion and sense of betrayal. As Daniel grapples with his suspicions about Sharon, who has consistently denied any wrongdoing, he is left questioning everything he once believed. Meanwhile, Christine is meticulously tracking the evidence against Daniel, acutely aware that developments could jeopardize their defense. As the police's case grows stronger, the prospect of Daniel's arrest looms larger, leaving Christine anxious about potentially witnessing her friend in handcuffs while she is still striving to secure his freedom. Alongside this turmoil, the emotional fabric of Asterisk, the young and the restless Asterisk weaves through the lives of other characters. Sharon finds herself in a deepening mental health crisis, battling her inner demons while trying to maintain the facade of normalcy. Nick Newman, ever compassionate, encourages her to share her burdens, but this only adds pressure on Sharon to choose between revealing her dark secret or continuing to hide it. In a poignant moment, Sharon, overwhelmed, breaks down in front of Nick. Instead of confessing her role in Heather's demise, she spins a tale of being victimized by Daniel's accusations. Nick, loyal and protective, reacts with fury towards Daniel, unaware of Sharon's true involvement. This miscommunication drives a wedge deeper between them, creating a complicated dynamic that may spiral into misunderstanding and conflict. Elsewhere, the Abbott family faces their own struggles. Diane Jenkins Abbott confides in Tracy about her deteriorating relationship with Jack Abbott, who has asked her to move out. The swift decline of their marriage leaves Tracy shocked and worried for her brother, adding yet another layer of tension to the ongoing narrative. As these storylines unfold, the stakes remain high, with Christine determined to uncover the truth while balancing her growing concerns for Daniel, Nick, and Sharon's relationships, and the Abbott family's turmoil. Each character is set on a path that could lead to unexpected revelations and consequences, with the promise of dramatic developments on the horizon. Stay tuned to see how these intricate tales of loyalty, deception, and emotional struggle play out in the coming episodes. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its Rita. At Society, Nick asks an upset Phyllis what's going on. She shakes her head. Daniel and Lucy, this is a nightmare. They've lost the center of their world and can't even grieve because her son is being framed for Heather's murder. Nick asks how this is possible. Phyllis says the forensics team wants to search the apartment, so they had to move out. She asks if he can imagine having to tell her bereaved granddaughter that her father is being framed for murder. Nick asks what was found in the apartment. Phyllis says they found Heather's phone and some bloody towels that had been planted there. Nick asks how that is possible. Phyllis replies, I don't know. Why don't you ask Sharon? Nick asks why she thinks Sharon would know something. Phyllis asks him not to be naive about Sharon and what she's capable of. He told her that she was mentally unstable. Nick says the past few weeks have been traumatic for Sharon, who was triggered by Lucy and Faith's accident, and by Daniel. She has to consider her mindset. Phyllis shouts that she doesn't care about Sharon's mindset. She's sick and tired of everybody tiptoeing around about how Sharon's going to react and worrying about her being unstable. Sharon killed Heather. Period. Nick tells Phyllis that it isn't doing anyone any good for her to stir the pot. Phyllis says Sharon hates Daniel and blames him for Cassie's death. She wants Daniel to feel the same pain, so she killed Heather. She's trying to save herself, so she's framing Phyllis's son, who would never hurt anyone. But she's trying to make him look guilty for killing the woman he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. Nick thinks this is preposterous. Phyllis asks if Sharon told him that she went to Daniel and Heather's apartment the night that Heather died. She didn't say anything to Lucy or Daniel, but she finally fessed up to the police. Nick asks Phyllis if she's confronted Sharon with this. Phyllis would love to confront that bitch, but she promised Daniel she wouldn't. Nick says that's good, because that would be the last thing Sharon needs right now. Furious, Phyllis can't believe her son is being framed and facing life behind bars, and Nick's more worried about Sharon's feelings. I don't want to talk to you. Nick follows her to the bar. He's concerned about both of them, but there's no way Sharon did this. Phyllis asks who did it then. Nick tells her to let Chance handle it with his investigation. Phyllis can't because his investigation is leading right toward her son. At Daniel's apartment, Chance turns on the light and looks around. 2 CSI members come in behind him as he gazes at a framed photo of Daniel and Summer. He shows them where he found the towels and phone. He explains that whoever did this was in a hurry and there's likely more evidence. It's critical that they're thorough and get this right. After a while, one of the CSI guys tells Chance, "We've got something." Sharon opens her door to Daniel. She asks how he's doing. Daniel says, "You came to my house the night you saw Heather. What did you want?" She lets him in, and he asks if she'll answer his question. Sharon says she had already apologized to him, and she wanted to extend that same courtesy to Heather and Lucy. Daniel questions her just showing up at the apartment. Heather must have been surprised. Sharon says he was, but she accepted her apology. She seemed on edge, so she asked her about it. It was almost as though she couldn't hold it in. She blurted that the two of them had had a terrible fight. Daniel squints. What else did she say? Sharon says not much. Daniel questions her not saying anything to him about this. Sharon didn't want him to be reminded that the last time he saw her alive, they were arguing. Daniel says it's not true. The last time he saw Heather, he kissed her goodbye and told her he loved her. Something is very off here. Sharon says Heather was terrified of him. Daniel says that is absolutely not possible. Daniel tells Sharon she needs to go to the police and tell them there was no way Heather was terrified of him. Sharon doesn't like his tone. Daniel thinks that's rich. He's fighting for his life here. Sharon asks if the police suspect him. Daniel says they do. Her running to the cops with her fake conversation with Heather hasn't helped him a lot. Sharon was only trying to help the police. Daniel asks how a fake conversation would help. He finds it very hard to believe that it never crossed her mind that the cops wouldn't immediately target him. That's obviously what she wanted. Sharon denies it. Daniel says someone hurt Heather and it was brutal. Was it you? Did you hurt her? Sharon can't believe he'd ask her that. Daniel says the police are asking him the same question, and he hasn't once showed the level of rage that she showed toward Heather and Lucy that past several weeks. Sharon admits she let things get out of hand. She was in pain and angry and regrets her actions. That's why she wanted to apologize. Daniel says that doesn't mean that's the way it played out. Did Heather upset her? Did she attack her? Sharon would never hurt the woman he loves, much less kill her. She asks if there have been any new developments or if the police have found proof. Daniel won't get into that with her. Had he packed up his family and left, Heather would still be alive. That's something he has to live with for the rest of his life. Sharon's sorry. Daniel says his daughter is shattered and needs her dad. I can't be locked up. Sharon suggests he try to get some rest and try to find some peace. He's being irrational and desperate. Daniel squints. By coming over here, that's what you're saying, right? Sharon tells him that what he's accusing her of couldn't possibly be true. In society, Nick tells Phyllis she has to stop with these wild accusations. Phyllis can't sit back and let her son go to jail. Nick complains this isn't fair to Sharon. Phyllis scoffs that he's so brainwashed by her. Nick says, just leave her alone. I'm serious. Stay away from her. In Daniel's apartment, Chance shines an ultraviolet light on the floor and sees where the pool of blood laid. He declares that Heather was bludgeoned there and her body thrown into the river. He uses the light on a statue of an octopus and says he's found the murder weapon. He bags it up as the final autopsy report comes in showing unusual marks on the back of the victim's head. He's sure they'll match up. Just then, Chance gets a call from Phyllis, who wants to meet up. She has information he'll find useful. Chance isn't sure he has time right now. Phyllis tells him to make time and meet her at Crimson Lights. Chance meets Phyllis in a booth at Crimson Lights. She says he knows Daniel and must know he is innocent. She asks about the search. Chance can't tell her anything and asks her to let the police do their job. Phyllis can't do that if the police are building a case against her son. She says the evidence was planted at Daniel's apartment. Sharon saw Heather at that apartment the night she died. She lied and didn't tell anyone about that. Why is that fact not given the same weight as everything else? She's sure that with some digging, that fact will show Sharon as the killer he's looking for. Chance feels there's no way Sharon is capable of murder. Phyllis sighs, "You dated her, didn't you?" She argues the same thing can be said about her son. Phyllis asks if he knows what Sharon has done in her past. Chance knows, but he's also aware of what she's pulled off. It's no secret how far she's willing to go, especially when her kids are in trouble. At Sharon's place, she tells Daniel not to go to a dark place. She's been there and almost lost everything. His family will get him through this. Daniel says he should go and probably shouldn't have come in the first place. He walks out. Sharon unravels and Cameron appears to tell her to get a hold of herself. If she loses it now, there's no coming back. Sharon shouts, "Daniel asked me straight out if I hurt Heather." Cameron says she played it perfectly, but she worries he'll still suspect her. Cameron says suspicions are all he's got. She planted enough evidence to bury him in prison for the rest of his life. "I promise you, this is almost over." Daniel sits down in the club, and his tablet rings. It's Danny, who wants to know how he's doing. Daniel says, "Not good." Danny assures him he'll fly home as soon as he has details for Heather's service. Daniel's not even sure when that will happen now. Danny asks what's going on. Daniel says everything's a mess and he could really use his help. Danny says that whatever he needs, he's there. He offers to cancel the tour and come home to support him and Lucy. Daniel doesn't want him to do that. He needs to protect Lucy from what's ahead and wants to send her out to stay with him on tour for a few weeks. Danny would be thrilled to have her, but he wants to know the situation. Daniel says there's evidence that Heather's death wasn't an accident. The suspect is being framed. He asks him to talk to Christine to ask her if she can come back there and defend him. Danny's stunned as he realizes that the suspect is his son. At Sharon's place, she places logs in the fire and flashes to dragging Heather's body out of the apartment and dumping it in the river. As she cries, she hallucinates Nick they're offering to help her with build a fire. He knows something's bothering her and urges her to talk to him. He reminds her of all the crises they've been through together. "I can't help you if you don't tell me what's going on with you." She says she made a mistake. Nick assures her they've made lots of mistakes and they're always forgiven. Cameron appears and warns her not to let Mr. Warm and Fuzzy to convince her to drop her guard and spill her guts. She'll be screwed royally. Sharon tells him to go away. Cameron reminds her that he's guided her every step of the way and is making sure she gets the life she wants. Sharon cries, "I am not this person. This is not me. I'm a good person." Cameron chuckles that she thinks telling Nick will fix everything. Does she think he'll run to her rescue? He tells her she's weak and too lovesick to see straight. If she confesses it cold, hard reality, she is done. At Crimson Lights, Chance continues to defend Sharon to Phyllis, who points out she was attacking Heather, Daniel, and Lucy for weeks. How is she not a suspect? Chance maintains she's not a suspect. She accuses him of being biased. Chance says it's not personal. He's doing his job. He gathers evidence, analyzes it, and follows where it leads. His phone rings, and he steps away. Phyllis follows him to the patio and asks if there is anything in the search that can prove Daniel's innocence. Chance will only say, "You'll know soon enough." At the club, Danny is furious on the video call with Daniel. "This is crazy. Of course you didn't kill Heather." Daniel needs to get Lucy out of town so she doesn't see him in cuffs and on trial. Danny's sure it will never get that far. Daniel has to prepare in case it does. Danny learns that they've been asked to leave their apartment and are staying at the club, and says this is insanity. Daniel can hear Lucy crying at night and wants to tell her everything will be ok, but he can't do that. Danny wants to get on the next flight home, but Daniel says no. He asks his father to tell him that he'll take Lucy. Danny agrees, but he asks what evidence the police have against him. Daniel says it's solid enough that he's expecting a knock on his door any moment. Christine should get there as soon as possible. In Sharon's living room, she protests to Cameron that Nick will help her out of this. Cameron's sure when he hears that she dumped Heather's body and framed Daniel, he won't help her. "I'm the one rescuing you, not Nick, me. Nick will go straight to the cops, and then where are you gonna be, huh?" Sharon protests that this needs to end now. "I need to make things right." Cameron tells her she needs him. Hallucinated Nick stands up and tells Sharon that whenever she wants to talk, he's right there. She says, "I do." Suddenly, a knock snaps her out of it. It's Nick at the door. She cries, "I can't do this. I can't take it anymore."